This is Art Television.
Coming up, State of Business, sponsored by
SLT Mobitel Home 4G then full ආවරණයක් සමග
IWS Aviation.
And a warm welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Hishainali and let's have a look at the headlines first. Cabinet nods for a relief allowance of 5,000 rupees for those whose means of income were affected. No opportunity for a shortage of salt in the country, Minister assures. News in detail. The Cabinet of Ministers have decided to provide a relief amount of 5,000 rupees for the families which their income means were affected by the travel restrictions due to coronavirus pandemic. Meanwhile, the government has already issued a circular on the criteria to be eligible to receive rupees 5,000 as allowance due to the coronavirus pandemic. The Prime Minister's office has also issued a form to be filled by families that wish to receive the allowance.
අගමැතිතුමා ඉදිරිපත් කළ යෝජනාවක් සංචරණ සීමා නිසා ආදායම් අහිමි වුණු ජනතාවට හෙට සිට ආරම්භ කරමින් රුපියල් 5000ක දීමනාවක් ලබා දෙන්න මේදී දැනටමත් රජයේ දීමනාව වැඩිහිටි දීමනාව වේවා සමෘද්ධි දීමනාව වේවා රජයේ දීමනාවක් ලබන අයට ලැබෙන දීමනාවත් රුපියල් 5000ත් අතර තියෙන අඩුව පමණක් මෙම දීමනාව යටතේ ලැබෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔවුන්ගේ ලබන දීමනාවත් 5000ත් අතර අවසාන වශයෙන් උන්ට ලැබෙන්නේ 5000 පමණයි. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන්ට 2000ක මාසික දීමනාවක් ලැබෙමින් සිටිනවා නම් තව වැඩිපුර 5000ක් දෙන්නේ නැහැ. තව 3000ක් දෙන්නේ. රුපියල් 3000ක දීමනාවක් ලැබෙමින් ඉන්නවා නම් තව වැඩිපුර ලැබෙන්නේ 2000යි.
The government today insisted that there was no shortage of salt as a result of the MV Express Pearl incident. Cabinet co-spokesman Uday Gamanpilla told reporters that false information is being spread, claiming salt production had been hit as a result of the pollution caused by the fire on the ship. The fire on the ship MV Express Pearl has had a serious impact on the environment, with debris spread mostly between Negombo and Moratuwa. A cleanup operation is underway on the beach as bags full of plastic and other hazardous material continue to get washed ashore. The Marine Environment Protection Authority, MEPA, said that major damage has already been caused to the environment as a result of the blaze on the ship, which has lasted for over a week. However, Cabinet spokesman Minister Uday Gamanpilla said that pollution from the ship has not spread to the areas where salt production is taking place. He also asserted that as a result of the fire at the ship, the salt production in the country has not been affected.
රසායනික ද්‍රව්‍ය මුහුදට කාන්දු වීම නිසා ලුණු නිෂ්පාදනය කිරීමේ දුෂ්කරතාවයක් මතුවලා තිබෙනවාය. ඒ නිසා ලුණු හිගයක් අනාගතයේ ඇතිවීමට ඉඩ තිබෙනවායි කියලා කටකතාවක් පැතිරී තිබෙනවා කියලා වාර්තා වුණා. නමුත් ලුණු ලේවායන්ගේ ලුණු නිෂ්පාදනයේට මෙතෙක් ඒ නැවේ රසායනික ද්‍රව්‍ය මුහුදට කාන්දු වීමෙන් බලපෑමක් කෙල්ල වෙලා නැහැ. ලුණු ලේවායන් තියෙන ප්‍රදේශයට මේ නැවෙන් රසායනික ද්‍රව්‍ය කාන්දු වීමේ බලපෑමක් සිදු වෙලා නැති නිසා ලුණු හිගයක් ඇතිවීමටවත් ලුණු නිෂ්පාදනය ඇන හිටීමටවත් කිසිම හේතුවක් ඇති වෙලා නැහැ.
Sri Lanka's inflation rose to 4.5% in the 12 months to May 2021 from a year earlier from 3.9% in the March, while food prices rose 9.9%. Central Bank data showed that the Colombo Consumer Price Index grew 1.1% during the month of May to 140.3 points from 138.8 points as a month earlier. The CCPI measured on an annual average basis remained unchanged at 3.9 in May 2021. Monthly change of CCPI recorded at 1.5% in May 2021 due to price increases observed in items of both food and non-food categories. Moreover, monthly changes of food and non-food categories recorded at 0.69% and 0.36% respectively. Accordingly, within the food category, prices of fresh fish, coconut oil and rice increased, whereas prices of fresh fruits and vegetables recorded decreases. The food sub-index grew 9.9% during the year to May, up from 9% in April. Meanwhile, prices of items in the non-food category recorded an increase due to price increases observed in the health payments to medical laboratories, payments to private hospitals, nursing homes, room charges, and housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels. The core inflation, which reflects the underlying inflation in the economy, increased to 3.2% in May 2021 from 3% in April 2021. Meanwhile, annual average core inflation remained unchanged at 3% in May 2021 for the fourth consecutive month. Sri Lanka's rupee has fallen from around 182 at the beginning of 2020 to around 200 by May 2020 amid unusual money printing, though there was a credit collapse after lockdown in April. Credit started to pick up strongly in 2021 and another lockdown was imposed in the last week of May. Stay tuned for more news right after this commercial break.
SLT Mobitel Home Broadband එක බැලන්ස් එක බලා ගන්න එක්ස්ට්‍රා GB මිලදී ගන්න දුරකථන දෝෂ වාර්තා කරන්න දැන් හරිම ලේසි. My SLT app එක භාවිතා කරන්න නැත්නම් 01121212 SLT Mobitel ස්වයංක්‍රීය සේවාවට පිවිසෙන්න.
Welcome back after the break. Diversified financial conglomerate, the LOLC Group, yesterday announced that the company has reported a record-breaking pre-tax profit for the financial year ending 31st March 2021. LOLC in a statement said that the achievement is a first for any corporate in the country. LOLC Group, which has interest in finance, leisure and agriculture, yesterday announced that it had remained all above a record-breaking pre-tax profit of 57 billion rupees and 53 billion rupees in post-tax profit for the financial year ended March 31st. Sri Lanka-based LOLC Holdings said profits in the March 2021 quarter grew 396% from a year earlier to 7.2 billion rupees, helped by lower deposit rates and overseas profits, interim accounts showed. LOLC Holdings reported earnings of 15.23 rupees per share in the quarter. For the year to March, the group reported earnings 59.06 rupees per share on total profits of 53.1 billion rupees, which were up 147%. In the March 2021 quarter, interest income grew 9% to 24.7 billion rupees. Interest expenses fell 18% to 11.9 billion rupees, while net interest income grew 60% to 12.7 billion rupees. Other revenues grew 70% to 11.6 billion rupees. Cost of sales grew 71% to 8.3 billion rupees, and gross profits were up by 68%, 3.2 billion rupees. LOLC provided 6.7 billion rupees for impairments in the quarter against 6.8 billion rupees for last year. For the full year, 29 billion rupees were provided for impairments, up from 17.2 billion last year. LOLC has international operations in microfinance and leisure, giving dollarized results in Cambodia due to the inability of the central bank to depreciate the currency, and close to dollarized earnings in the Maldives, which has a credible peg with substantial credibility. Net assets in rupee terms grew to 136 billion rupees by end March 2021 from 92.5 billion rupees a year earlier. Net asset grew to 286 rupees from 194.7 billion rupees. Colombo Stock Exchange announces that both the indexes of ASPI and the S&P SL20 showed remarkable growth during the last 5 months. CSE in a statement says that this significant growth is marked after the years of 2010 and 2011. The Colombo Stock Exchange has recorded 9.3% growth in year-to-date all-share price index within the first 5 months of 2021. The S&P SL20 index fared even better with year-to-date growth of 13%. CSE also announced that the market also recorded a breaking year-to-date market turnover volume of 414.5 billion rupees for the first 5 months of 2021. The year-to-date market turnover for 2021 exceeds the annual market turnover of 396 billion achieved in 2020. Accordingly, 2021 YTD market turnover is already marked as the third highest market turnover recorded in the history of CSE and the highest market turnover recorded within a shortest period of time. Previously high market turnover volumes were recorded during the period 2010 and 2011, where 570 billion rupees and 546 billion rupees were achieved. Another significant development in 2021 is the activation of the primary market for debt and equity. With the government incentivizing the use of the capital market, already 3 initial public offerings were successfully concluded, with all 3 issues being oversubscribed and closing on the opening day and raising an aggregate of 3.9 billion rupees in equity capital. 2 of the IPOs already commenced trading, and these traded above the issued price. The CSE also remarked about the very first listing of a SME company on the Empower Board and the state-owned Ceylon Electricity Board issuing a listed public debenture. The market digitalization efforts also saw a significant number of new accounts being opened. Since the electronic account openings were enabling in September 2020, the daily volume of new accounts has doubled and many new young investors are entering the stock market. Japanese government took another friendly notion yesterday, assisting the National Gymnastics Association of Sri Lanka. The handing over ceremony of a consignment of gymnastics equipment took place yesterday in Colombo. The sports equipment were donated by the Japan Gymnastics Association to the National Gymnastics Association of Sri Lanka. Japanese Ambassador of Japan to Sri Lanka, Sugiyama Akira, handed over the consignment of gymnastics equipment to the officials of the National Gymnastics Association of Sri Lanka at a brief ceremony held yesterday in the presence of Minister of Youth and Sports, Namal Rajpaksha. The gymnastics equipment was gifted in response to the request made by Sports Minister Namal Rajpaksha with a view to further promoting sports in Sri Lanka while developing closer engagements of exchanging knowledge and sharing activities with Japan. The equipment includes a vaulting table, a runway for vaulting table, vaulting boards, landing mat, a safety collar for vaulting board, and a mat for hands. Both the gymnastic associations of Japan and Sri Lanka have had a close relationship spanning over many years. Japanese coaches have been visiting Sri Lanka since 2006 to train aspiring gymnasts and to encourage the youth to participate in the sport. With only less than 2 months away from the Tokyo Olympic and Paralympic Games, the handover ceremony symbolized Japan's enduring commitment to further bolstering the bond of friendship through the sports exchanges even under the global challenge of COVID-19. Stay tuned for stock updates.
Hello. දැන් ඔයා හිතන්නේ හැමදේම වෙනස් වුණේ කොහොමද කියලානේ? උත්තරේ මගේ ළඟ තියෙනවා. නෑකම් ඕනෑකම් හඳුනගත්තා. අපිවම වෙනස් කරගන්න ක්‍රම හෙව්වා. අලුත් බීජ පැල කෙරුවා. හිතුනේ ඒක කරන්න බෑ වගේ තමයි. හැබැයි ඒක කරන්න පටන් ගන්නකම් විතරයි. ඒක දැවැන්ත එකමුතුවක්. අපි හැදුනේ එකම සබැඳියාවක බැඳීමෙන්. හැමදේම හොඳ උනේ සබැඳියාවේ හැදීමෙන්. අපි මෙතනට ආවේම එකම එක සබැඳියාවක රැඳීමෙන්. ගෙදරට වැඩකට ගමනට එකම එක සබැඳියාවක බැඳෙන මුළු මහත් රටකට. Good morning, sir. How can I help?
SLT Mobitel. එකම එක සබැඳියාව.
Welcome back after the break. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. The all-share price index gained by 45.68 points to close at 7,449.12, and the S&P SL20 gained by 28.04 points to close at 3,006.85. The turnover was 2.91 billion rupees and over 110 million shares were traded. Up next are Forex rates. That's all news for today. See you tomorrow with State of Business at the usual time. Until then, take care and good night.
දැන් සියලුම SLT මොබිටෙල් සේවාවන් වලට My SLT app හරහා එකවර පිවිසීමේ හැකියාව.
State of Business was sponsored by
සීමා නැති SLT මොබිටෙල් Home 4G පුළුල් අවරණ